Obviously you'd like to have a little bit better record. I feel like we could be 11-5, pretty easy, uh, but we're not. And we've had a chance to grow and learn and adjust and continue to evolve as a team. And I still think our best baseball, if we can stay healthy, is in front of us. Yeah, I mean, 3 in 1 week, you'll take that every time. Being on, I was just talking about it, being on the road or being at home, uh, being at a neutral site. Baseball's baseball. If you can pitch it, field it, come up big 2 out knocks, I mean, you're going to have a chance to win every single game. I think the time together is good, but as I was just saying, I've been on teams that everybody got along and you're just okay. I've been on teams where nobody got along, but you were super talented and you were really good. And so that can be, uh, you know, overhyped a little bit. I think that's something that you look back on the end, at the end of it and you say, dang, we were pretty close, or, really didn't get along too great. You know what I'm saying? So, bottom line is winning baseball games, putting yourself in a position to win games, if that's at home, on the road, or at a neutral site. And we found a way to do that this week. I don't know. 3 wins. If it doesn't matter where you're at. Like I said, we can go play in the parking lot. If you're hooked up, ready to go, and you like to compete, you're going to have an opportunity to win. I don't know if it's that as much as just getting a few more ABs underneath our belt, being able to execute a little bit bigger, or a little bit better in bigger spots, and guys understanding who and what they are, and then being able to go out and execute that. I thought that was important, and I played him on Sunday. Obviously, not based on stats, but based on how he pitched on Saturday. And we had a talk, and I just said, look, take that confidence that you have right now on a bump, and let's pour a little bit of that into your ABs, and anything you do right now, because you're pitching so well, is gravy for us offensively. And I said, he's a super defender at first base. And the last thing I told him was, do not get in a collision over there. Just let the ball go by. And the very first play of the game, he got in a collision over there. So, uh, but that's just kind of who he is. He's a tough nut that loves to play. Yeah, we're gonna readjust our rotation. Obviously, going into conference, I'm an all hands on deck type guy. Never really been one, or really anywhere I've been, but been a part of, hey, X, Y, and Z are pitching on this day, and you've got. I don't want to look that far out heading into conference. What I do want to do is give us the best chance to win the first 2 games and have a chance to win that series. And I think Brandon Young's pitching as well as anybody in the country. And he'll go out first. I'm going to run Connor Cook out second on Saturdays. I really like his mix. He's built his pitch count up. You saw us do that on purpose on Friday. It may have been a strange spot to run him in for 60, 70, 80 pitches, but it's to build that pitch count. He's got a 3, 4 pitch mix that he's pounding the zone with strikes. He's super athletic, fills his position, holds runners well, and then we're going to leave Sunday TBA. And so what I mean by that is anybody that's not starting, all hands are on deck to try to win those first 2. No, not right now. If we have a chance to use him out of the bullpen, we'll use him out of the bullpen. If that spot's available on Sunday, and we feel like he's a good match, then we'll visit on that. Well, obviously their reputation precedes them. They're having a good season. They're swinging the bats well. They've got some big arms. They're super well coached, and they're going to present some problems for us. And so it's up to us to go out and get a great start on the mound and get back to dominating routine plays, find ways to reach base, move them, and drive them in.
So does that mean Schultz is the closer as of now, or is that just kind of a by committee thing?
No, I want the best arms we got available. And, I don't want to paint us into a box saying so and so's going on Sunday when that might not be our best option, or Tuesday. That brings Robinson back in the mix as well. You'll see him go out and start tomorrow. I don't know how long he'll go. And so I think it'll present an opportunity for us not only to have Schultz and Wilson and Talley, but also have some bigger guys with some big arms down there as well.
What about your position players? Anything that's maybe set that wasn't before? Toro behind the plate, or
Yeah, Toro's our catcher for sure, and Hayden's played a really good shortstop. I know his numbers aren't where he wants them offensively, but he's played a really good shortstop for us. So Brennan's really coming on in center field, and I like the spark Hagedorn's brought to us at third base. And if we can get Fitz going, I think everybody saw how explosive he can be. He goes in consecutive at bats, home run, triple, double, and he's got a push to move that he could have beat out, and they made a good play on it. He'd had a cycle in consecutive at bats over 2 different games.
Coach, you talked about Hayden. It's not his bat's not where he wants to be. What's going on with him when he's in the box?
Well, look, hitting's super tough, man. It's the hardest thing there is to do, and it can start to mentally grind on you. And I think he's handled that about as well as a 21-year-old can handle it, where it hasn't spilled over into his defense or his ability to reach base. And then when he does reach base, make stuff happen. I think it's just a matter of having something fall here and there, and being able to get a knock here or a cheap one there, and then bust one, kind of get going.
And Coach, you mentioned Brennan Breaux, and he's been healthy and he's been really performing at the plate. How does it kind of change your lineup having him in there and hitting so well near the top of the order?
I think he's really stirred that drink for us in a two hole. And Dan mentioned it earlier. We've been able to score some runs. 6 runs is 6 runs, and with our pitching staff, that's 8. And so I think that kind of coincides with him moving to the two hole. And I think Booge or Kemple, whoever it is at the top, has done a good job right there. And really, what I tried to do initially was push our lineup backwards and add a little bit of length to it. And we started getting to go, or started rolling just a little bit with that.
So, how big was it just Fitzgerald, Hagedorn in the middle of the lineup? You had kind of envisioned that at the beginning. So, this weekend could have been
Yeah,
huge for that.
yeah. I mean, hopefully that gets them going a little bit. And obviously Ben coming off the bench and hooking a ball out of the ballpark to give us a lead in a pinch hit spot, and then Haggy drives in the first run of the game yesterday in the 4 hole. And so that was great to see. Talley finally gets a knock, and hopefully that'll get him going because he's got big power. And it's not how you start; it's how you finish. So if we're just now starting to hit our stride going into conference, that's awesome.
back to Cantrell? He went basically through the same thing last year, and then when he got going, he just took off. Has he shared anything, or y'all two talked about anything that got him going?
No, I think he's a very confident kid to begin with, and he's a guy that understands his game, understands what he's doing, and I have all the faith in the world in him that he will get going. It's like I said, man. Major league season's about to crank up here next month, and we're going to watch guys that are all stars. They're going to go 1 or 2 for the month of April, and you're going to look up, and it's going to be the middle of May, and they're hitting 202, and we're going to look up again in June, and it's 280 with 15 and 60 RBIs already, and so that's just kind of the way the game works. It's a body of work. It's never in the beginning. You got to look at the entire thing.
Toro's throwing guys out like as good as anybody in the country right now. I mean, you knew he was going to be solid, but did you think he would be able to perform like he has as far as throwing guys out?
Yeah, he's a real weapon back there, and his defense is really a very good offense for us, and he's preventing runs obviously with his arm, and now we're getting to the juncture that teams aren't even trying to run on him, and so that saves our pitchers a little bit from really having to work to control a running game.
Coach, before Coastal saying you have to make the trip on I-10 to go play
Well, look, I've been in the same league with them for the last 5 years, and they do a good job. They can hit. They play extremely well at home. They've pitched it very well this year. They have a few older kids in that lineup. They've got a good mix of right, left. They've got some power. They've got some speed, and so it'll be a great matchup and a great test for our ball club tomorrow night. I can tell you that.
So Wyndham is going to be the second baseman for the foreseeable future, or is that
I don't think anything's in stone. Uh, just want to give our club the best chance to win. And right now, I think Hagedorn's a big spark for us.
was Hagedorn at third an option in January, or is it just you just been
Born out of
putting all the pieces
necessity,
together?
out of necessity. And we've had guys go down. Jonathan Brandon's an infielder for us, and then Wyndham cracked his hand a week or so ago, 2 weeks ago, and so essentially having to go through the Rolodex and see who's done what, and we've had guys that have had opportunities but haven't necessarily gotten it done, and so looking for that spark and somebody we can play even with the bag. If you hit it to him, you're out. Not asking you to do anything crazy, and I like his energy. I like the way he plays the game.
Has he played there before?
He's played on the infield, specifically third base, probably limited, but he's spent a lot of time at second base and obviously behind the plate. Very limited. I know Gary. Obviously, I've been praying for Gary, and I've texted him, and it's a tough situation that he needs a lot of prayer from everyone. No, I've got my.
Kevin's got one.
I had to explain the other day what a Rolodex was. Yeah, so back to your original question. I feel for that team, obviously, and I know what he means to that community and to that university and to those kids, and you know, we're lifting them up in prayer and thinking about them, obviously.